Have you been given feedback that you're just not approachable enough? Are people saying to you that you might as well have this in front of you? Well, if so, today's video is for you, because we're going to talk about how to use your body language, that instead of people seeing this, what they see is someone who is friendly and approachable. We all give out signals, and those signals are interpreted, and people read those signals before they're even conscious about them. And so it's important for us to ask, how can we use our body language to help show that we are approachable? Stay tuned, because at the end of this video, I also want to give you an offer to a free e-course, which is called Emotional Intelligence Roadmap, and maps out a way that you can increase and harness the power of your emotions. So the first area when it comes to becoming more approachable is the body language we use itself. Now, there are certain areas of the body that give out signals, and really what we want to try and give out if we want to become more approachable, or at least appear to be more approachable, is that we are warm and that we are friendly. You know, it's not surprising that even going back to our primitive days, that there was a basic question that was asked whenever we met another person. Are you a friend or are you a foe? People were always assessing other people. Back then it was important because it was a matter of life and death. But today it is important as well. Because if we want to give out that we are approachable, then our body language has to appear warm and appear friendly, and there are ways of deliberately doing that. So what are those? Number one is our friend, the smile. Yes, you know, the smile is unique. It's unique among all the emotions because it is the emotion that we see the furthest away. We can see a smile further away than any other emotion. And there's a reason for that. Because again, in primitive days, when we were meeting someone who could be friend or foe, when we saw the smile in the distance, we know we didn't have to worry. Because that person came in peace and that person came in friendliness. What we also know is that smiles are contagious in that we catch other people's smiles. You know, you're walking and someone smiles at you. How do you respond? You smile back. And so it is in any relationship. Smiles can help increase that bond we feel in the other person, and one smile generates another smile. So, number one for approachability when it comes to body language is smiling. Then the next one is our eye contact. Because our eye contact as well also creates connection. It also tells us that we're engaged. It tells us to move forward to us, that we are approachable. Now, eye contact is a little bit cultural in that certain cultures use more eye contact than not. In our Western culture here, normally it's around 60%. So in any conversation, about 60% of good conversations have eye contact. The other 40%, you know, we're looking, we're thinking, etc., and then we're making eye contact again. In the Far East, that eye contact drops a little, and especially they have certain norms. So say, for example, if you're talking to an elder, it is culturally respectful to defer your eye gaze at times. But what is important, especially say in our Western context here, is that we are giving the appropriate amount of eye contact. Because if we go to either side, then it also impacts our approachability. So if we are deferring our gaze, and if we are not really looking at other people, that's a signal of keep away, don't look at me. Or if you go the other extreme, and all of a sudden that 60% comes 90%, well, that's just freaky. Because if someone's looking at you the whole time, then you just want to run away from that, and there's nothing approachable about that. So eye contact is having the right balance at the right time. The next element of body language that's important as well is how open are we? You know, it's amazing. As human beings, we are created to survive. And we are also the only mammal that has all of their organs exposed right in front of us. And so instinctually, when we feel threatened, We go into a defensive. And so one of the ways that we go into defensive is that we automatically try and protect all these organs. And so we close down and we cross our arms, and we do this instinctually without even thinking about it. And unfortunately, this gives a message. And the signal is, don't come near me. I feel threatened. And this gives a signal, you know what? I'm relaxed. I'm comfortable. The next element when it comes to our body language as well is to show nonverbal signals that we're engaged in the conversation that's happening. You know, there's nothing worse than being in a conversation with someone and the message we're getting is, I'm not interested. Go somewhere else. Because when we see that, what happens is it shuts us down and we literally do go somewhere else. So what are some nonverbal ways that we can show that I'm engaged? Well, moving in, showing that we're listening, perhaps leaning our head one way or the other way to show that we're engaged, nodding, that we agree or disagreeing. This all relays a message to the other person, I'm listening and I'm engaged. The other thing as well when it comes to our body language is to be aware of any distracting habits that we have. You know, distractions can really take people's focus and attention away. You know, one of the things that's really bad is people that click pens. You know, I remember I had a friend who used to do this and they were totally unaware that they were doing it. I remember having a conversation with them. The whole conversation, all I heard was the pen going bum, 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 bum. And what was happening was it was so distracting. I couldn't focus. I was just getting so annoyed. And eventually, you know, I had to tell them, do you realize you're doing this? And of course they didn't. So be aware of any distracting habits that we have that may take attention and focus away from this goal of approachability. And then the final thing when it comes to the whole nonverbal realm is our voice. You know, sometimes our voices are friendly and approachable, and people are automatically detecting what our voice sounds like. We know when we ask someone, hey, have you got a minute to talk? The response, yes, can mean so many things. It can be a yes, an invitation, or it can be a yes, a rushed yes. That simple word and the way it's pronounced and the tone can give us all the messages that we need. When it comes to our voice, just make sure that there's a congruency between our desire to be approachable and what our voice sounds like. The second element I want to talk about is a little bit about our listening skills, because in this act of listening, we're able to make connections, and in our listening skill, we send out a message if we are approachable or not. Now, one of the habits that is really awful when it comes to defeating the goal of approachability is interrupting a person. You know what happens? You're having a conversation and then all of a sudden you feel this desire to interrupt to get a point straight and you shut down the conversation. Fortunately, that can be really disrespectful and the person gets the message basically, what I have to say is not important and here you are interrupting. So try and listen fully until the person completes what they're trying to say. Add all the different nonverbal elements that we're talking about, and that really adds to this message of approachability. The second area when it comes to listening as well is try and be aware of the biases and the judgments that you're making. You know, as human beings, we are full of different judgments we're making, and we have a history with this person perhaps that we're talking with. And perhaps we have made a judgment, even if we don't know them. Sometimes we make a judgment about them, about their appearance, about the way they look. And that judgment impacts how we behave towards them, and certainly if we listen to them or we don't listen to them. So try and become aware of maybe some of those judgments that we've made and how that might be impacting how we're showing up, and certainly the message that we're giving out, if we're approachable and friendly or not. And then finally, when it comes to listening, I think it's really important to be able to acknowledge, and especially acknowledge emotionally, and label that where a person's coming from. You know, we don't have to agree with everything that a person's saying. What we do need to convey is that we understand and that we acknowledge what they're going through. You know, sometimes when it comes to approachability, what a person's looking for is that this person has a good ear to bend and that they will listen to me. They don't have to agree with me, but they have to listen. And really that's the goal of a great conversation. The goal is that at the end of it, not necessarily that I've agreed with everything you've said, but that person goes away knowing they've been listened to. If we can include this ability to acknowledge where a person's being, then it will send out the signal that I am not only approachable, but that I also am here and I care to listen. All of those are incredible for increasing our ability and the signals that we give out that we are approachable. So there we have it. Let's just get rid of this, move away from the restricted area into one that is warm and friendly. And you can do that by looking at those two areas I talked about today, our nonverbals and also our listening. Now, I promised you at the beginning that I would share with you a link, and you can find it below. This link goes to a free e-course which is called the Emotional Intelligence Roadmap. And it's a course that I designed to introduce people into the wonderful world of emotional intelligence. Why is that important for you? Because research shows clearly the higher your emotional intelligence, the better leader you are, the greater chance of promotion, and the higher the salary and compensation that you're going to get. Who doesn't want those things? So check out that course. And if you found this video helpful today, I invite you to watch the next video, which talks about the virtual reality and how we show up non-verbally in that.